Welcome to Transcend the Monkey, the consciousness practice enabled by Qualence that can help us evolve ourselves. My name is Jeffrey Quintero. I am the Qualence architect. This graphic represents Qualence. It's a new existential paradigm that will help us study and realize the value of a quality emergent life view. What is the problem that Qualence will help us resolve? Today, the evolution of human civilization is being constrained by the lack of a coherent understanding for how the spiritual interacts with the material aspect of our existence. This is the problem that Qualence will help us resolve. What is the limitation of this constraint? The most limiting natural conditioning remnant because of this constraint is what I call rational fundamentalism. What are the global effects of rational fundamentalism? Globally, the most detrimental effects of our religious, cultural, scientific, economic forms of rational fundamentalism are what we know as religious terrorism, ideological war, scientific physicalism, the idea that only the physical is real, and economic materialism, the idea that only the material is valuable. What is rational fundamentalism? Rational fundamentalism is the attempt to use rational right versus wrong explanations to solve our good versus bad emotional conflicts. What are the personal effects of rational fundamentalism? Rational fundamentalism is the root cause for most of our self-dissatisfaction and relational conflicts we are suffering in our daily lives. So what? Why is this such a big problem? Well, the fact that today, because of our rational fundamentalism, we're spending countless hours arguing who's right and who's wrong about what's good and what's bad without the possibility of making any progress. But then why do we engage in rational fundamentalism? We engage in rational fundamentalism because we are not being conscious of what is triggering the need to argue, and much less are we aware of the fact that we are arguing about what is already in the past. There are two bases that explains rational fundamentalism. These are two limiting conditions. First, we have a false sense of a static present. Our current existential paradigm says that life flows from the past to a present to a future. The problem is that this produces a static sense of a present which is not actually real. This is because living life is a dynamic process. And yet, having a subconscious sense of a static presence is why we do not easily acknowledge we are arguing about what is in the past and nothing can be done about it. The second limiting condition is that our instincts are not rational. And the problem is that our need to defend being good and not being bad come from our survival instincts, which are exerted naturally and subconsciously without any possible rational control. So in a way, we are not yet conscious rational beings, and we're more like intellectual monkeys. This is why we have the name of this practice, to transcend the monkey. Is there anything that we can do about this? Here's the Transcend the Monkey consciousness practice. By becoming aware that our instinctive emotional reactions emerge naturally from our subconscious, prior to our rational explanations, we become able to consciously practice letting go the energy of our primal emotions and choose not to react to our survival instincts when it's no longer really necessary. Here's the big takeaway. We cannot solve the emotional good versus bad cost of our subconscious reactions using rational right versus wrong explanations, because these emotions are naturally triggered by our survival instincts before they show up in our minds. This is how and why to transcend the monkey is the consciousness practice to evolve ourselves. And this example of this practice is how and why, using Qualence, the quality emergent life view, will enable us to use our consciousness in a whole new way.